So let's talk about Newroz. For a lot of people, it's just the first day of spring, a New Year's party. But for the Kurdish people, well, that's a whole different story. It's this incredibly profound festival of resistance, of identity, and honestly, of survival, all forged in myth and fire. And this quote from the Kurdish poet Piramerd, wow, it just hits you, right? It captures the spirit of Nowruz so perfectly. This isn't just about the weather changing, it's about a fire inside a people, a fire that's been burning for a very, very long time. So you gotta ask, right? How on earth does an ancient spring festival transform into this huge annual symbol of political struggle? To figure that out, we've got to go way, way back to the beginning. To really get Newroz, you have to start with its origin myth. And believe me, this is not just some quaint folktale. This is the story that gives the entire celebration its powerful meaning of freedom from tyranny. Okay, so picture this. The legend starts with this absolutely terrifying figure, an evil king named Zahak. And the story goes that two serpents literally grew out of his shoulders. To keep them happy, he demanded the brains of two young men every single day. His rule was so evil, they say, that spring itself just vanished from the land. And this is where our hero enters the story, a blacksmith named Kaveh. After losing 6 of his own sons to this monster, he finally snaps. He's had enough. He rallies the people, they march on the castle, and in this incredible act of defiance, he kills the tyrant with his own blacksmith's hammer. And then he runs to the hills and lights huge bonfires, a signal to everyone that the nightmare was finally over. And get this, the very next day, spring comes roaring back to the land. That bonfire wasn't just a signal anymore, it became the symbol of Newroz. It's light beating darkness, freedom crushing oppression, and life itself returning. Okay, so you have this epic myth of liberation. How does that ancient story translate into the vibrant, joyful celebrations that we see all over the world today? Well, it all goes down on March 21st, the spring equinox. For Kurds, this is day one. It marks the beginning of their new year, a new day, both literally and symbolically. And the celebrations themselves are just bursting with life and color. People light these huge bonfires, a direct callback to Kaveh's signal of freedom, and they jump over the flames for purification. Everyone puts on their beautiful traditional clothing, they gather outside with family, share amazing food, and there's tons of dancing and singing. It's this amazing expression of community and culture. But of course, it's never just a party, is it? When you're a stateless people spread out across different countries, a public celebration of your unique identity, yeah, that's gonna get political fast. And this is where everything changes. In places where Kurdish language and culture have been suppressed, this simple act of celebrating Newroz becomes this incredibly powerful, defiant public statement. It's a way of shouting, we exist, we are here, and this is who we are. You wouldn't think a single letter could be a battleground, but get this. On the left, you've got Newroz with a W. That's the Kurdish spelling. On the right, Nevruz with a V, the Turkish one. The Turkish state started promoting Newroz as this ancient Turkic festival, basically trying to absorb the tradition and strip it of its Kurdish political meaning. So just choosing which letter to use became a political act. And this conflict, it's had tragic, real-world consequences. This wasn't some academic debate. As you can see from this timeline, these celebrations have often become sites of really violent clashes. In 1992, events in Turkey came to be known as the Bloody Newroz, after security forces killed more than 90 people. And you see similar tragic events in Syria. It just shows you how incredibly high the stakes are. So, what is the fundamental difference that makes the Kurdish Newroz so unique? I mean, other cultures in the region celebrate the start of spring, right? But the meaning is completely different. And it all comes back to that origin story. The real difference isn't just about the spelling or even how people party. No, it goes way deeper than that. It's rooted in two completely different myths that give the festival its whole meaning. And this chart just lays it out so clearly, doesn't it? For the Persian Newroz, it's all about cultural renewal, spring, and the legend of King Jamshid. But for Kurdish Newroz, it is defined by Kaveh's victory over a tyrant. So for one group, it's an official state holiday. For the other, it's a symbol of a national struggle for freedom. There's actually a pretty cool academic term for what's happening here, counter-hegemony. It's basically when a group uses its own traditions, its stories, its music, its festivals to push back against a more dominant culture and to build their own sense of identity. Newroz is a perfect textbook example of this. And that right there is its ultimate power. You see, the Kurdish people are really diverse. They have different dialects, different religious beliefs, different social classes. But once a year, the story of Kava the blacksmith and the fires of Newroz bring everyone together under one single powerful symbol of who they are and their unending fight for freedom. So we're left with this one kind of heavy thought. For most of us, a festival is a fun break from real life. But for Kurds, Newroz is tangled up with real life, with their history, their identity, their survival. It really makes you think. When your celebration is an act of resistance, when it's about survival, what does it even mean to celebrate?